Hey folks, this is Kalani. Welcome back to the Sepulcher of the First One's raid guide for normal and heroic. In this video, we'll be taking down Anduin. Real quick, before we jump in, be sure to hit up that like button and subscribe so you don't miss the next boss guide. Throughout the fight, Anduin will periodically use Hope Breaker, dealing raid-wide AoE damage and damage over time, so keep everyone healed up. You also have to watch out for Wicked Stars. These target random players with a wavy line, and after a short delay, a star will fire directly towards the target. You want to stand still and wait until the star fires, then dodge to the side. The star also returns to Anduin, so make sure you dodge it on the way back as well. The boss also applies Domination Word Pain to random players. It's just damage over time, so keep those targets healed up. His first problematic ability is Befouled Barrier. He creates an AoE on the floor that explodes after 30 seconds. To get rid of that AoE, you need to heal players that are standing inside of it. The easiest way to get rid of it is for your entire raid to quickly stack up inside it and use a healing cooldown. The barrier will shrink as it absorbs healing, so make sure you get rid of the entire thing before it explodes. Then there's also the Blasphemy ability. This marks several raid members with a yellow or black circle. After 8 seconds they explode, killing anyone within 6 yards. To get rid of the marks, a yellow mark and a black mark have to touch. If you touch the same color mark, you also explode, so be sure to avoid same color debuffs, spread out as the ability is happening, and then run into opposite color debuffs as quickly as you can. On top of all of that, Anduin will also gain attack speed every time he attacks the same target, so just tank swap when you can to keep these stacks low. And then perhaps the most important ability in this phase is Kingsmourn Hungers. Anduin slashes out in a black semicircle, dealing damage to anyone who gets hit and banishing them to a Shadow Realm. You actually want to be in this Shadow Realm, so you need to split your raid equally in half, one tank, half your healers, and half your DPS in each group. The first time Anduin uses Kingsmourn Hungers, everyone in your first group needs to get hit to send them downstairs. The entire goal of this downstairs phase is to generate willpower for Anduin. You will see 1 big ad, 4 little ads, and 4 healer ads. The big ad needs to be picked up and tanked, and it should be your highest priority for DPS. It spits out swirls constantly, so be sure to dodge those. The big ad is worth 20 willpower when it's killed. The small ads can be CC'd, so I'd have a DPS hard CC or root every ad as soon as you drop down, then drag the big ad on top of them to cleave them down. Keep the small ads out of the middle of the room with knockbacks, stuns, and roots, otherwise they will disappear. When a small ad disappears, move the big ad onto the next one, but still focus on the big ad. When a small ad dies, Anduin gets 5 willpower. And then your healers down here should be focusing on healing up the 4 healer ads. Each healer ad is worth 5 willpower when healed to full health, but you need to heal them before they reach the edge of the room. You also do have a time limit down here to get as much done as possible, so you might need to save cooldowns if you can't kill enough of the ads in time. You will get a second Kingsmourn Hungers shortly after the first group comes up. Everyone in your second group will need to get hit to go down and repeat the downstairs phase. It's also worth noting that you cannot get hit by Kingsmourn twice in a row. The second hit will kill you. You can get a total of 60 willpower from each down phase, and Anduin caps out at 100, so as long as you get 100 willpower between the 2 down phases, you should be good. Shortly after the second down phase ends and everyone comes back up, you'll transition into phase 2. Anduin takes significantly reduced damage and gets stunned in the middle of the room while the remnant of a fallen king pops out. During this phase, players are going to get a huge buff, up to 200% increased damage and 90% reduced damage taken, depending on how much willpower Anduin had when you transition. So the better you do in those down phases, the more damage you can deal to the remnant, and that damage carries over to Anduin, so getting as much willpower as you can is going to be the key here. While the remnant is active, they deal constant raid-wide AoE damage that increases as time goes by, so be sure to keep everyone healed up. He also uses Soul Reaper on your tanks. It deals heavy damage, applies a damage increasing debuff, and increases the remnant's attack speed, so you need to tank swap. And then his last ability is Army of the Dead. Swarms of ghoul ads will spawn, just AoE them down as quickly as you can and try to loosely spread across the platform. These ads explode in a small AoE when they die on heroic mode only, so you'll need to dodge that. On heroic mode, there's also another ad to worry about, the Monstrous Soul. When that one gets to low health, they try to explode. If they finish the cast, you will wipe, so they need to be focused down and nuked when they get to low health. When the remnant energy bar fills up, they return to Anduin and you go back into phase 1 with one extra ability, Grim Reflections. This summons several ads around the room that try to cast Psychic Terror. This is a raid-wide fear and dot. You have to interrupt every single cast, otherwise you will probably wipe. Apart from that, it's a copy-paste from the first phase. When you've done another 2 down phases and hopefully gotten another 100 willpower, the remnant pops out again. He also gains some new abilities. Dark Presence will basically make any leftover Grim Reflections unkillable, unkillable, so you have to finish off every Grim Reflection ad before the Revenant becomes active again, and he also starts using March of the Damned. Walls of monsters spawn around the room and slowly walk across. If you touch this wall, you will die, so look for where they're spawning and walking and avoid them. After you've dealt with Arthas yet again, you'll enter the last phase. Anduin still uses some abilities from before, but Blasphemy has changed into hopelessness. These marks can't be removed by running into players, and if you do touch another mark, you explode. The only way to remove hopelessness is to run into the Beacon of Hope barrier in the center of the room. When you cleanse hopelessness using the barrier, it applies a damage over time debuff to your entire raid for 3 seconds, so you have to stagger your cleansing, otherwise you will wipe. The barrier also shrinks for each cleanse, so it will run out eventually. At this point, you just need to burn the boss and hope you kill them before they kill you, and that's all you should need to take down Anduin on normal and heroic. Stay tuned for more boss guides for the rest of the Sepulcher of the First One's raid. Thanks for watching, folks, good luck and have fun, and as always I will see you next time.